So it looks like RFK, I mean, I kind of saw this coming as soon as Nicole Shanahan went on, I don't know what show or podcast that was, but she essentially said, you know, here's the choice. It's do we stay in or do we drop out and endorse Trump? And I think, who said it? Dave Smith. Dave Smith basically pointed out exactly what I was thinking at the time too, so it kind of confirmed my gut feeling that as soon as I heard her say it, I was like, they wouldn't be coming out and saying this if they weren't either 100%, at least like 95% sure that that's what they were going to do, is drop out or suspend at least and endorse Trump. For a lot of people on the Democratic side wondering why, and I don't want to put too many words in RFK's mouth considering I haven't watched the full speech, but given the brief little thing that I saw, actually, I'm going to show you right here. I saw this on Twitter. So we got Johnny MAGA. CNN has had 2 random Kennedy cousins on in the last hour to tell us why RFK is wrong. LMAO. They're freaking losing it. Yeah, I think that's funny. They got them so fast that it's like, I mean, Kennedy's whole family are a bunch of shit libs. They do not represent actually what JFK represented, which was sure a Democrat, but actually willing to call out corruption and the deep state. And, you know, he wasn't perfect, but he was a lot more populist than the Kennedys have been since. And that's probably why he got assassinated by the mob and the CIA. Or allegedly the mob and the CIA. But yeah, his family, the Kennedy family, has been just total Dem shitlib insiders. And so the fact that he had any politics that were outside of the corporate Democratic Party made him within the family kind of a persona non grata. And so, you know, they've already interviewed when he started running a lot of the family who's basically like, I disavow him. You know, I think Kamala's the best thing since sliced bread. She's just so wonderful. Just like falling over themselves in support of her. So God forbid he has any criticisms of the Democratic Party, even though he was one of the first people to say, I love the Democratic Party because it's been my party since I was old enough to vote, and you know, it's been in, like, our family is lifelong Democrat. But here's the crux of why I think. Actually, first let's just switch this really quickly so that we can all hear it. And let me
at the palace coup against President Biden, the same shadowy DNC.
Let me read it. CNN cut away from RFK Jr.'s speech as he was explaining how the DNC rigged the primary, replaced their candidate with one who didn't receive a single vote, and how the media covered up for it and censored him. So I will comment on that after this video. That seems to be pretty clearly why he's choosing, even though he disagrees with him a lot, choosing Trump as the lesser of two evils. Because, you know, that's all politics is in America nowadays, is the lesser of two evils. But let's see what he has to say, and let's see CNN. The moment that he starts getting real about how the Democratic National Convention is completely rigged and the party is totally rigged, and the hypocrisy of them being so pro saving democracy and meanwhile subverting true democracy like unbelievably.
At the palace coup against President Biden, the same shadowy DNC operatives appointed his successor, also without an election. They installed a candidate who was so unpopular with voters that she dropped out in 2020 without winning a single delegate. My uncle and my father both relished debate. They prided themselves on their capacity to go toe-to-toe with any opponent in the battle over ideas. They would be astonished to learn of a Democratic Party presidential nominee who, like Vice President Harris, has not appeared in a single interview or an unscripted encounter with voters for 35 days.
We've been listening to independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. from Phoenix outlining what led him to his quixotic quest for the White House to now dropping out and relinquishing the title of Democrat. He had a series of complaints about the party. We're, of course, going to continue watching his remarks. There's a back and forth over whether he's going to endorse former President Donald Trump.
We're, of course, going to continue watching his and listening to his remarks as soon as he gets off of this subject. The moment he stops talking about how Kamala hasn't appeared in an interview at all, refuses to talk about policy, the fact that there was, what did he call it, the palace coup, and that she didn't receive a single vote, and that basically the whole thing is rigged. As soon as he stops talking about that, we'll cut right back in. But we can't be broadcasting this to all of the CNN voters. We have them in, or the CNN audience, who are mostly Democratic voters. We have them in this little insulated bubble where they think everything is happy, hunky-dory. Kamala is just the best thing ever. And God forbid they hear, oh yeah, you know what? Why hasn't she been in interviews? Why hasn't she, proposed almost any policy whatsoever? Why isn't she really going to go debate and do a bunch of debates now? Doesn't she want to get her message out there? And there are some dyed-in-the-wool shit-lib Democrats who literally won't question at all, but I feel like CNN they did that because they're worried about the odd Democrat or two that might go, you know what? That's actually a good point. Now, even if it doesn't change their mind, just having that thought is too dangerous for CNN to show.
Pictures from Phoenix, Arizona, where Kennedy is expected to say publicly what he's already made official in a court filing, that he will endorse Donald Trump. Perhaps no coincidence, Trump is set to hold a campaign rally tonight with a special unnamed RFK. Suzanne Craig, MSNBC contributor Jonathan Alter, who's written.
I believe this was MSNBC at the exact same time, right when he started talking about that too. I believe they did the exact same thing. Right when he starts talking about the corruption in the DNC and just the Democratic Party as a whole, both CNN and MSNBC are like, no, cut. Let's just start bullshitting, start talking about anything, repeat the basic premise. Oh, RFK, he's probably going to talk about blah, 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 and whatever they're being fed in their earpiece. It's like, oh my God.
To now dropping out.
Here's the same thing. So I love how, oh no, I didn't see this.
Yeah, I was watching that, and Donald Trump last week stood and said, in front of a bunch of groceries, and said, I haven't seen any Cheerios in a long time. I had Cheerios for breakfast. This was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And trying to get any logic out of that is good luck with that. Because it's, one, you can't understand what he says. Two, if you can't understand what he says. And I'm reminded of a line in Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles when somebody gets up and gives an indecipherable speech. He says, who can argue with that? That's authentic frontier gibberish. And that's exactly what that is.
Wow. They are just so insufferable and so hypocritical on everything, which is why, everyone who isn't essentially blue MAGA and all of you in blue MAGA, you are no better than Trump MAGA people. You are just as brainwashed. So don't have this chip on your shoulder as if you're somehow above the fray. No, you're not. You're literally just the equivalent brainwashed in the opposite direction. But I love how hypocritical and just elitist and insufferable these people are. Now, I really want to go through the speech, because I guarantee there was nothing that was gibberish or unintelligible other than, yeah, they might be mocking his spasmodic dysphonia, which is something he can't help and is such a low blow, I guess you'd call it, but it's only something that you would ever mock or bring up when you can't attack the actual issues. Now, he's supposedly saying that it's just a bunch of gibberish. He didn't give one example, but I'm really curious. I'm gonna watch this on my own time, not on stream. Cut away. I love how this is blowing up, because
He is expected to say publicly what he's already made official in a court filing.
The veneer of respectable programming that the corporate media has is wearing off. More and more people see it for what it is, which is just propaganda. Propaganda for one of the two parties, depending on what you watch. And so I love that it's blowing up, because people, I don't think a long time ago, or even 15 years ago, would have seen that and would have spoken. There would be people like me who would watch that and go, wow, that was oddly convenient when they cut away, and but I think a lot of people would just not even think about it. But I love how now the respect is so low and the hatred is so high for corporate media that people are so quick to call them out on their bullshit and just be like, it was pretty clear what you did there. You started telling too much truth for you guys to air on your news network, so you had to cut away.